Good evening and welcome to LawCall on WLOX and WDAM. I'm Ken Flanagan. So happy to have you in on this Saturday Night Live. We are here. We've got Matt Mestayer in studio with us. And our topic as well is something we kind of all have in common. Auto accidents. You've either been in one, you have a family member who's been in one, a friend. We have got your show for you tonight. Car and truck wrecks. The phone lines are open, 896-0713 or 1-800-349-0713. That toll-free number is good from Lucedale to Long Beach to Laurel and all points in between. Love to have you on the phone lines tonight. And now joining me from the law firm of Reeves and Mestayer, as he does every Saturday night, sort of, kind of, your friend of mine, Matthew Mestayer. Matthew, good evening.
Good evening, my man.
Auto accidents, car and truck wrecks.
Yep.
The reality is you just know this topic.
Boy, you do. And
inside and out.
Yeah, true. And Kenny, and like everything else, there are do's and don'ts, right? Everything has gotten, more complicated in this world, and, accidents are no different. So there absolutely is. There are things you need to know, things you need to be aware of, because it's going to happen to you. It's going to happen to a loved one, unfortunately.
Yes.
Summer's upon us. People are driving more. People are out more, which is a good thing.
Sure.
But unfortunately, with that comes more accidents, and it's just not a question of if. Unfortunately, it's usually a question of when.
Yeah, it is. You just try to put it off. It's like the weather. We all just seem to have auto accidents in common. Speaking of the do's and don'ts, well, we have a graphic.
I hope we do.
Yes, we have a graphic prepared, Matt.
Yes, indeed. I brought a graphic with me.
I feel like you were over late Wednesday or Thursday night in the airport working on it, and then you're like, here it is. Matt, here are your 4 things to do and don't do after an auto accident. These are just good ways to go either way. Let's start with number 1.
Absolutely.
Don't downplay it. What did you mean by that?
What I mean by that, Kenny, is first thing, listen, you call the police.
Right.
Okay? That's always a kind of a question. We've all been there. You think it's a minor impact. Everybody's like, hey, listen, we don't need to call the police. We can handle this informally.
Right.
Absolutely, positively big mistake. And not only that, it's a misdemeanor. All right? It's required. It's a criminal misdemeanor offense not to report an auto accident to the police. And not only that, report it to the police and also report it to your own insurance carrier.
Okay.
So report it to those teams. So don't downplay it. That's number 1.
And then, kind of going into that, record all the details.
Yes.
I guess you're saying break out your phone, do everything you can.
Honestly, cell phones have become, commonplace in cases.
That's right.
Standard. So, listen, take photos. Take photos of the accident. Anything you think is important, take photos. More the better. Absolutely take photos. I would hesitate to recording people, things like that. Okay. That's a little much over the top. But absolutely damage, things like that. Take all the pictures you can, for sure.
Great point about the recording. And then here's an interesting one. Don't make a statement. Now, you're not referring to don't make a statement to the police.
No, I'm not saying that.
I got you.
No.
Don't make a statement to somebody else's insurance, I suppose.
Well, ultimately, right. After an accident, you're going to be contacted sometimes rather quickly by the insurance carrier. There are 2 types of adjusters you're going to be dealing with. One is the property adjuster that deals with the damage with your car, and the other is the personal injury, the bodily injury adjuster. That's the one, the bodily injury adjuster, is going to want to take a statement. You need to talk to your lawyer really and be prepped before you give that statement.
And that leads us into point number 4.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Talk to a lawyer.
Talk to a lawyer. Communicate with your lawyer.
Yep.
Matt, I guess the big question, and one of the things we get on the show all the time, is when do you do that? A fender bender, do you need to talk to a lawyer? Maybe not anything more than that. It just, I guess, trust your instincts.
Go with your gut, Kenny, really.
Yeah.
I mean, fender bender, probably not. But anything involves an emergency room visit, anything that there's some medical stuff, call a lawyer. But as I say, there are a lot of lawyers out there. They'll generally talk to you for free. People call me all the time with small questions about auto accidents. I'm happy on the telephone to give them information. And if it's more serious than that, we bring them in. So absolutely don't be afraid to call a lawyer. They'll generally talk to you for free and, get some good advice. And then if it goes somewhere and you need to, come in for a visit, well, so be it.
All right, let's do generalities here. So, fender bender, maybe not talk to a lawyer. If you've got a broken bone, call a lawyer, right?
Absolutely. If you have a hospital visit, call a lawyer, because there are some tricky business just with handling the different insurances. Say you have car insurance and medical insurance, and the interaction between the two can get very tricky. So absolutely talk to a lawyer, very soon in that process.
Now,
without question.
We didn't have it in the graphic, but you did mention your phone. Phones lead to social media. How how much do you need to put on social media? Do you put nothing on social media? How do you handle that right after an accident? Because there's some people, I mean, they kind of document their whole lives. I had Raisin Bran cereal for dinner tonight.
God, I love some Raisin Bran right now.
Man, it was so good. I mean, and I had that almond milk with it.
Man,
like the rich one. Anyway,
it is good.
I'm getting off topic.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
But it was good.
Listen, no social media. Okay, let me just tell you. That's listen. In a deposition, which happens in any big case.
All right, Dad.
The last thing you want in a case is the folder on the other side to bring a folder and let's talk about your social media account.
Right.
Absolutely, just lay off social media. It's just not the kind of thing you want to talk about. Now, once the case is over, settled, that's a whole other issue.
Okay.
But during the pendency of the case, forget social media.
So get the photos of the scene,
yeah,
but don't be
posting,
doing a live
don't be
on
right.
Facebook.
Don't be taking Snapchat. Don't be snapping.
Did
I get that right? Anyway, something
Matt,
like that.
And let's go over that just real quickly. So somebody is in a serious, semi-serious car accident.
Yeah.
Maybe had that emergency room visit, a broken bone.
Yeah.
When they call you, it's not like they're on the meter as soon as they get Matt Mestayer on the phone, which is, I mean, don't get me wrong, that's a thrill for everyone.
Oh, stop it.
But they're not on the meter right off the bat. It is the whole
No, absolutely. We answer a lot of stuff for free. Happy to do it. Just give information out, just like this show, right? I mean, we like giving information. We like helping people. We do it all the time, and that's the way to go. Because as you kind of touched upon, it gets a little tricky, the interplay between health insurance and your car insurance.
Yes.
So when you're in an accident and you unfortunately have to go to the emergency room, how that works. And generally speaking, there's a portion of your we'll talk about this, I'm sure, but there's a portion of MedPaid comes in, part of your car policy pays usually the first $5,000 to $10,000, and then your health insurance picks up. But sometimes the interplay between those two can cause a traffic jam, and things don't get billed, and then all of a sudden you get credit report. You get a collection agency calling. You're like, how can this be? I have health insurance and I have car insurance. Why am I getting collectors? It's just, and you've got to be able to aware how that works so you can make sure that everything is going smoothly, so you're not getting calls from collection agencies, your credit report's not getting ruined, and when you're fully insured, which can happen. Which can happen for sure.
We did have a caller come in through the break.
Okay.
And Matt, she didn't want to get on air.
Gotcha.
She thinks that she might have made a little boo-boo. A little mistake, and looking for some advice.
Okay.
Recently was involved in a minor car accident. Another driver hit her, dinged her car.
Yeah.
They decided after the fact, maybe didn't call the police, hasn't called her insurance company. As she's looked at her car a few more days later, she's realized it's a pretty good dent that she didn't notice at first. And now that it's been a couple of days and she hasn't done anything, what are her legal options? So she's still got to have some legal options.
She does. No, she does. Listen, forgive yourself. Let's talk about that. I know that kind of in the first block I talked about what not to do, and that is kind of what not to do. I agree. But first of all, listen, call your insurance company first thing Monday, report the accident, let them know about it, and go down to the police station. You can make a report. You're not going to be arrested. Okay, they're not going to take you in handcuffs. You're not going back to a jail cell. But go ahead and make a report. It won't be the world's greatest report because it'll just you'll have to do the reporting yourself. You'll have to kind of identify the when, the what, the where, and you can do a report of sorts, but you need to kind of take care of those two things, as best you can.
So probably head to the police station.
Yeah, the local station.
Probably not a phone call then. Don't call in. You need to go ahead.
No, you got to go into the non-emergency number. They have a help desk. You walk in. They'll probably give you some paperwork to fill out, and there you go.
Matt, probably a good idea to maybe take some notes down before she goes down there.
Well,
maybe
just collect anything she can, all the details she can remember. I hope that they maybe exchange driver's license information.
Sometimes that happens.
Sometimes that does happen, or whatever information about the other vehicle that hit her or him.
Right.
So anything you can't, bring all the information you can. But as I say, not the end of the world for sure, but you can, let's get this kind of back on track, the right track.
So call her insurance company first and then head down to the police station.
Absolutely.
Okay, very good.
Yep.
All right, caller, hope that helps out a little bit. Came in this week and it was perfect for the show. It comes in from Martin. Matt, stay with me a little bit on this one. It's got a little
Where would I go?
Well, don't drift off.
Where would I go?
It comes in from Martin. He says, I was a passenger in a wreck, and I got a diagnosis of spinal ligament sprain.
Okay.
Both drivers' insurance companies have called me about my injury, but I haven't called them back yet. He's playing playing hardball here.
He is.
Is there anything I need to watch out for when I give them a call back? What grabbed me about this one is back injury right off the bat.
Yeah.
I know how serious that is for you and Jim.
Right.
And then 2, he hasn't talked to anybody yet. What are your thoughts? Unpack that one for us.
Well, what I would do is, what I would recommend is he speak to a lawyer Monday and kind of walk through the accident, the details of what happened, things like that. Because the simple fact is, the insurance company, they do want to take a recorded statement, and let me just say, they're recording it, and whatever you say in there, you're going to be stuck with. And they're going to ask you questions, not just what happened, but they're going to ask you questions like speed of the vehicles, how fast were you traveling, how fast was the other. So you really need to have your facts straight.
Right.
And you need to, and quite frankly, if you know, and if you don't know, you don't know, and don't guess. And so what I'd want to do with that person, I'd want to kind of walk through what happened. I know the kind of questions the insurance company is going to ask. I'd kind of run through those questions, prep them for what they're about to do, how they're about to do it, and then I'd have them make the call. But I'd have them make the call and be ready, and just so that way later, and they're not seeing and recorded that statement later in the case, saying, well, when you talk to the adjuster in May, you said X, Y, and Z, and now you're giving a different story. So and that happens. I mean, honestly, that they record those statements for a reason, Kenny.
That's right.
And it's generally, they have it, and so they're very careful. You have to kind of stay consistent. And so you just need to be aware and just be mindful of that, because some people, they get caught off guard about some of the questions they're asked, and people want to help, and so they kind of start guessing, is really the simple fact is. And unfortunately, you get stuck with that. So you got to be careful.
Hey, let me ask about the
Fire away.
The spine, the spinal strain there. I've never had a back problem like that. I don't know that one.
Right.
You got to go to the doctor to be diagnosed for that one,
my goodness, you do. And listen, backs are tricky business, and a back injury, as you know from doing the show, it's debilitating and just life-changing, can be. So, that's a process. So, you definitely have to go see an orthopedist or a neurosurgeon. There has to be MRIs generally, physical therapy, sometimes pain management. That is a process.
So Martin's been to the doctor already.
Well, he got that. So that may be something he got from the ER. I'm just guessing, kind of spitballing here.
Yep.
So, but that means a follow-up, okay? That absolutely, you just can't take that and say, well, that's the end of that. No.
I'm gonna take some Advil.
Yeah, well, right. So no, you've got to follow up. You got to go down that road. And I get it, right? You're busy. You don't want to go to the doctor's office. It's not a lot of fun. I get it. It's like going to your lawyer's office. I'm just kidding. We're fun. But anyway, you need to go see a doctor. You need to follow up. You have to make that time and do the things you need to do, because in a lot of cases, and as Jim kind of referenced in his legal brief, the injuries are subtle. They don't just appear immediately, and it's sometimes months later and things like that. And so you got to kind of stay on your business.
All right, Martin. Thank you so much for the email. Really do. We'll be back next week with Jim Reeves to take more of your calls and questions on LawCall. But until then, good night.